He came in with a dirty face and had the time of his life, but I'm going to let you call the start of this race, Jonathan.
Here we go then, coming out of the last corner from the drone. It's our Group 1 action, their first feature race. And in a moment you'll see that green flag wave, and there it is. We are racing again at Watkins Glen in SVRA, a fantastic group here in Group 1 as they're 3 wide going into the 90-degree turn. Turn 1 here. And it's the all-yellow number 76 who takes them through. Side-by-side action here. The number 790 on great form. That's Matt Sendron in the Alfa Romeo. The Giulietta Sprint going all the way around the outside, losing out to the 61 just at the moment there. But a good battle to ensue. Eric Russell at the wheel of that MGA.
MGA's beautiful cars. Putting the grid sheet. So there's Dave Nicholas, who is really fast here at Watkins Glen International, followed by Jesse Darrow, followed by Peter Oozdevinis. And there's 2 Spitfires that look like this. One's right-hand drive, one's left-hand drive. There goes the right-hand drive, followed by Doug Radix. Then we've got some Formula Vs out there, some MG TDs and TCs. That beautiful 227 Alfa Romeo, but that's Steve Conson there in that British Racing Green MGT series. John Gorsline, a Gorsline Insurance there in that Mini Cooper, and then Chris Myers, who is the head of the MG Vintage Racers Group in a very historic 029 MGA, the last car to win a Sunday race at Lime Rock.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the car I'm looking forward to seeing is that all-silver Mercedes-Benz 190 SL. I actually had a 190. Not an SL, and not from 55. It was from the mid-90s. It was burgundy, a horrible burgundy color. It ran like all Mercedes does or do for forever, but I wish it would have been this one that I'm looking at on track right now, the all-silver 190 SL from 55.
You need to look at this car up close because Doug Radix is a body man by trade, and every time he comes to a race, the car is perfection. It's like a Concours winning race car, if that even makes sense. So that's Peter Oozdevinis there. Look at that midget just kind of roll around, the body roll in these cars. You know, and everybody looks at why would you want to race these cars. I love these cars because they're so fun to drive. They're well balanced. They're not super fast, but they are very, very nimble.
Well, tell a truth that not many people know, and I do, and you do, which is you can see that midget is tiny. And any, you know, American football ex-high school player would say, well, I'll never get in that. It's not true. You can be 6'2" and 250 pounds and still drive that.
I am 6'3" and 250. I
was
get
close.
It. It's not 46 years old. It's not easy to get in, but I can get in and out.
If it was easy, somebody else would do it, man.
It's worth it. And look at that. There's that rear traction bars of that Triumph Spitfire, how they're like really toe out
Those
there.
can't be period, or are they?
Yeah, that's how the Triumphs, the rears of the Triumph, for some reason, they kind of give the weird tire angles like that if they're set up correctly, is what I've heard.
There you go.
And obviously it's set up correctly because there he is in 3rd place as they come up here on this long straight. That Alfa Romeo there, well, both of them, beautiful cars. Chris Domingo is in that red and white Roadster on the left, and Ben Zhongfang is in that beautiful, just right behind him, that red car. Look at the lines of that. Chris Domingo's one of our really good drivers. I've seen him in everything. He's in this Malik that's here. He's been in RX-7s, rotary engine cars, but that 790 there. Ben
Sounds so good too.
That is such a beautiful car.
And you know, it's great to celebrate Alfa Romeo this weekend because you forget, I mean, all right, the reason we're doing it is because it won the first race in 1948. But when you think about the history of Alfa Romeo, you know, it goes in front of Ferraris, and also, I mean, they were going since the mid-30s.
Ferrari worked for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, exactly, Ferrari engine. In fact, outside here, there's a Ferrari engine, a Monza engine in an Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you can see the Scuderia Ferrari logo because Enzo Ferrari worked on the Alfa Romeos that are both here, both Grand Prix cars. And so we owe a lot to them. And I was pointing out to my nephews that are here that I love the logo, a snake eating a baby. You know, that's just too cool.
I thought that would appeal to a drummer like you.
Yeah, I love it.
Was that in your band? That
could be. That was my metal band.
That was that was a different band. Yeah.
There's the number 61, the MGA. I have a 59 MGA, so of course I love this. Eric Russell
when are you going to dust it off and get it out there?
I need to. And then that's
Why don't you do it in the hours off during the weekend you have?
Yeah, exactly. I should. Larry Smith making a move on the inside.
Oh, go on, son.
Let's see if he's got it.
Well, they're side by side through there. Just the last corner to go.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just holding on.
Eric Russell's holding on. Very kind of equally matched cars. The MG has a little bit less engine, but that MGA has a more stout frame, a little bit more weight. Both cars are very neutral, really well-balanced cars from the center. So I think this race is going to come down to the drivers. That car there that you're seeing in the back, I have some information. I was talking to him about that here with my nephews, the 623. That's basically a Sprigget. He'll be able to run in the Collier Cup, and it has a front end on it that is called a Tellington front clip that you could buy. Just
Say
like
that again?
A Tellington. And it would just give you that front clip look. So if you had a Midget, a Sprigget, a Bug-Eye Sprite, you could put that Tellington front end on it, and he's kept it on there. So
a
it looks
Sprigget.
like David Nicholas, for some reason, dropped back. I'm not sure what happened, but there he is in that yellow MGA. I'm sure that Kevin, his mechanic, is not used to seeing this, followed by Doug Radix. I hope we can get a good shot of that Mercedes 190 SL, but look for Dave Nicholas to try to work his way back up through. And if you're here on the internet watching this, between races, go to barkboys.com. That's his group there. 4 friends from high school. It's a great story. All used to go check out their film equipment out of their high school, and they used to hitchhike to all the famous races and take photos. And they got to meet all the famous drivers. And they begged, borrowed, and stole to get places. He had actually the police come looking for him because he skipped school and went to Sebring in 1958. Unbelievable photos and an archive. So go to barkboys.com, B-A-R-C, boys.com, and you're going to see him as a high schooler to now living the dream as Dave Nicholas in that yellow MGA. But let's go through the top. Peter Uzdavinas is in first. Jesse Darrow second. Chris D'Amico third. Ben John Fang fourth. Eric Russell fifth. Larry Smith, Toby Yurko seventh. Patrick Darrow and Dave Nicholas ninth. And Doug Radix in that top 10.
So the field's starting to spread out as we get halfway through this 7-lap race.
Dave Nicholas looking on the inside. And Larry Smith knows Dave Nicholas pretty well, so Larry Smith will probably give Dave room, and there it is.
And there's my Mercedes.
Look
Isn't
at
that beautiful?
That is a beautiful car. 1955 190 SL.
Listen to it.
That's just a sculpture.
Yeah. And I like the way it's sort of closed in as well. I mean, you could take that that side seat off, but I love the way it's...
yeah, tonneau cover. So, so my nephew Trevor was riding in the passenger seat.
Right.
But then he's got that tonneau cover just for that little bit of aero advantage. So he definitely has the weight disadvantage in this group, but I can say this as a British car fan, I think that's the prettiest car in this group.
Well, Mercedes weren't messing about. They did kind of invent the car, so...
Yeah, and he's in the right silver aero Mercedes colors.
Yes.
You gotta love that. And then we've got some Formula V's. Really fun cars to drive. If you're not familiar with Formula V's, basically VW chassis, running engine, and it was the cheapest way to go racing back in the day because Beetles were everywhere selling for $5 and $10 in junkyards. You could take them apart and build yourself a Formula V race car there. And that's just a really cool car. Thanks for bringing that Formula V out here.
And those engines go forever, don't they? That's why they're the perfect fit.
Arnold Carlball Jr. in 11th place. That's really good for Formula V in this class. Sometimes they're always so scared that the other drivers can't see them because they just sit so low.
There's a spotted Lynx out there as well. Haven't seen it yet, blue and black, but then again, Lynxes aren't easy to see. Look at these two classics coming up in the green, in the British Racing green. Beautiful.
It took a long time for MG to get away from these big pontoon fenders with the TC that really brought sports car racing to America when the GIs were over there at World War II, to the TD, to the TF, and then they finally went to the MGA. But these are beautiful cars. We still kind of classify them as pre-war because of their technology. That's Steve Conson there making the pass.
Oh, they sound fantastic, don't they? Yeah, the 833, that's the Russell Lane MGTD. Just got overtaken there past the 15 of Steve Constant in that other MGTD. Slightly different cars, but beautiful. Beautiful day here at Watkins Glen, and we're here all weekend. So if you've just tuned in, we'll have feature races throughout the weekend in both SVRA. We've also got an all-class Trans Am race yet again. We had a cracking 100-miler just about an hour ago. Really, really impressive. And Rafa Matos extending his lead in the championship.
Look at that. Side by side, these T-Series.
Blue and green.
That is an MG lover's delight. And these are cars that would have qualified to race here on the street course 1948 to 1952, showing us that they've still got it here. Good stuff. I'm loving this.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Collier Cup, which is basically a salute to the brothers Sam and Miles Collier from New York, who introduced MG brand to the United States. And Sam was killed, sadly, leading the Watkins Glen 1950 race. And his brother died of polio in 1954. But they are responsible for bringing the MG mark over to Watkins Glen for the first very time. And we'll be celebrating that fact in the Collier Cup later in the weekend.
Bradley Price and that beautiful Alfa Romeo. But man, Steve Conson really getting at it here. I love it. And he races all kinds of different cars with us, but I love that car. He likes to bring it here to Watkins Glen to run, specifically in the Collier Cup.
And as we mentioned already, the Alfa Romeos, of which we're seeing quite a few out there as well, with these MGs, will also have their own dedicated Governor's Cup race later in the weekend to celebrate Frank Griswold's first ever Watkins Glen win in an Alfa Romeo.
So I just heard from our producers that Trevor Sissel, my nephew, who got to ride in that 190 SL, it's his first time ever coming to a racetrack.
And he's been arrested.
Comes to Watkins Glen. Trevor, tell us about riding around, waving to those thousands of people in that beautiful 190 SL last night.
Oh yeah, last night was a crazy experience, especially for me. You know, I've never been to a race, never really known anything about racing, always been a soccer guy growing up. But yeah, it was an incredible experience. My Uncle Ben got me in the Mercedes SL 190. And me and Doug were going pretty fast last night throughout downtown Watkins Glen. There was thousands of people waving to me. I honestly felt like I was a celebrity. So it was a moment that I certainly will never forget for the rest of my life. And I hope I can get on back here to Watkins Glen next year.
Well, you could answer a question that I had, because I was down on Franklin Street and I saw you out there. But as you took off for the 6 miles, was there crowds all the way around?
Oh yeah, so I thought there was only going to be crowds on the downtown strip, but as we were going throughout the old course, throughout the streets, there was crowds everywhere. So every twist and turn, we were seeing all kinds of people, so it was amazing. Certainly something I'll never forget.
I hope we stay with that race we were just seeing there. There's the car that Trevor was in yesterday. He came in, Doug was able to give him some goggles to wear, but everything around the goggles was just black. So thank you, Doug, for giving him an experience. He'll remember it the rest of his life.
Great sound,
But
too.
Right now, man, John Gorsline, Joseph Puma, Chris Meyer, and Doug Faust are really going at it. John Gorsline is leading that race in 16th in that beautiful green Mini. John Gorsline, Gorsline.com, classic car insurance. But man, look at that. I love that Silver Arrow 1955 Mercedes-Benz. And it is like Concours quality. And you told me last night it's really loud and the floor's rattled, right? You weren't expecting that. But that's a full-on race car, so it's built for speed. Even going probably tops at 70 or 80, but around those country roads, that had to be a little bit scary.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was very scared. My feet were rattling, my feet were vibrating. I was wondering if Doug was having the same feelings, but yeah, I was telling my brother later in the night, he was like, well, how fast were you going? And I was like, man, I have no clue, but to me it felt like 150.
I was about to say, it always feels faster in an older car, or when you're low to the ground like that, 70 miles an hour. It's like being in a powerboat on the water. It always feels faster than when you're low down.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something I wasn't expecting, but yeah. What an incredible experience, and thank you to Doug. I'm cheering for Doug now as we speak. So, what a man, what a guy, and what a car.
Yeah, the trouble is he'll be bringing you in to try and fix it if it's a problem now.
That's true.
Yeah, but you know, he runs all of our Enduros in that car. It's really rare. I don't think I can remember a time that I've seen that be brought in on the hook. So he's not only just a good body man, but also a good mechanic, as we're looking at Stephen Kuhl in the Formula V. And Trevor, thank you for that wonderful insight. I've never gotten to ride in a car around the Watkins Glen Parade, so you got to do something I haven't been able to do.
Well, no problem. Cheers for having me on.
And they're all excited, Trevor and Zach, because Ronaldo started in Manchester United today. You'll like this, and scored 2 goals.
He's about as old as these cars, isn't he?
Maybe. We'll see. So I'm hoping we get some shots of that green. Look at that.
There he is.
Little wave. So is that checkered flag? What's he waving at there?
Well, he's either waving because he's enjoying it.
Looks like that was the checkered flag.
They might have given the checkered flag. They often do that to us.
So that's the number 25. Beautiful MG midget. We've got a lot of great cars here, and I love this Group 1. You know, it's really good to see the Group 1 kind of starting to come back, and especially here at such a great Group 1 track. So congratulations to Peter Uzdevinis and Jesse Darrow. Great race. The number 25 and that MG midget, Jesse Darrow, and that Triumph Spitfire. They went back and forth, but I got to say, my buddy Dave Nicholas, where'd he end up? Must be having some problems. There they are, the two first and second place in our Group 1. Peter Uzdevinis, Jesse Darrow in that left-hand drive Spitfire. There's a right-hand drive Spitfire set up just like it.
So as we wind down our latest coverage from SVRA, my thanks to the Sissels. A chip off the old block, no less. Watch your back there, Ben.
I know. I'm hoping.
Is he any good with flags? That's the question, because I know that's your forte.
They love the flags, and we put up all the country flags too, and they helped out quite a bit with that.
Nobody stole the Canadian flag?
No, but there were a couple flags stolen, and they were getting frustrated with it. But it's been a great weekend, and I'm hoping maybe they can get into commentating some soccer matches here in the future.
I'm up for that.